Hello, and welcome back to the How to Get an Analytics Job podcast. So we're going to be continuing the trend of having my Greensboro College analytics apprentices talking to experts. So got Margaret Barrett here and Lauren here, who's my current apprentice. So I just wanted to introduce everybody. How are you guys doing?
Great. Thanks for having us.
Doing good. I'm excited for tonight.
Awesome. So I almost spilled the beans in the last live stream. So Lauren, what is your news?
My news is that I have accepted a new job opportunity in the data analytics field, and I'm so grateful and excited.
Congratulations. I'm proud of you. That's really
Thank you.
That's really awesome. And also too, we got really lucky in that what was one of the major contributing factors of you finding this opportunity?
My Tableau Public Portfolio and my SQL GitHub were the two, I think, things that the recruiter saw and helped me get this position.
Awesome. Margaret, I know you love hearing that, right?
I know. I'm so excited. And I'll talk a lot about Tableau Public today and some of the really amazing things that Lauren did to kind of elevate her personal brand. And we could talk a little bit more about that.
Gotcha. Yeah. So today's kind of loose theme is how to get the most out of Tableau. And I think, Lauren, you're winning that game right now. You're milking it for all it's worth. So, all right. So Margaret, you got a slide deck. So I think what we could do is just jump through that because I guess give them a little bit of a sneak preview. What are we going to be going through in this episode?
Great. So yeah, my name's Margaret. I work at Tableau. I've worked at Tableau for over 2 years, and I have helped some people get jobs in analytics, and I wanted to share what I know. And also some tips and tricks for how you can get the most out of Tableau through free resources, whether it's free resources available to students or free resources available on Tableau Public to help you up your game.
Awesome. And for those of you who are tuning in on LinkedIn or YouTube or wherever, as Margaret goes through the slides, you can ask a question in the chat and I can pull it in and we can kind of work whatever question you have into the conversation. So I'm strongly encouraging you guys to make this a little bit more interactive and not just a kind of a one-way flow of information. So, all right, without all that being said, let's jump right into this slide deck.
Okay, great. So thank you for the introduction. My name is Margaret Barrett. I'm based in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I work at Tableau. We're split out by verticals, so I particularly work with the higher education customers throughout the Southeast. So I've been at Tableau over 2 years. We have a lot of jobs on our website. So if you are interested in anything at Tableau, feel free to hit me up on LinkedIn, and I'd be happy to talk to you about anything that you might be a good fit for. Prior to my work at Tableau, I was a sales manager at an education technology company. One of my favorite things to do is to help people find their right job that maximizes their skill set and their personal and professional goals. So I'm happy to, coach you on the side free of charge. And one of the things I love the most about Tableau is our user community. Really sharp, intelligent, generous, fun people who love building in Tableau, and that really is my favorite aspect of this platform. So I don't know how many of you realize this. We've been acquired by Salesforce. That happened a couple years ago. So we're part of the larger Salesforce ecosystem, which is great. Salesforce has been making a lot of investments in Tableau, and I'll show you some of those a little bit later on. I think most of you know that Tableau is data agnostic. We play well with everything. So one of the things we do really well is we help you wrangle all sorts of disparate data and make it look pretty and have it be usable for your end users. One of the things that Salesforce has really helped us with We've always had a lot of native connectors and supported flat files and live data connections. And Salesforce has been helping us make more investments in that so that we can play well with all different types of data. And that's really helped us stay innovative and on the cutting edge. So, one of the things I wanted to talk to all of you about today is how we can help you on your data journey. So, I'll talk a little bit about some of the initiatives that Tableau has implemented to help people like you up your analytics game with Tableau. And then I'm also going to talk about some resources. So feel free to put any questions in the chat as they come up, and we can definitely address them. I want to make sure that you're all getting the most out of this. So within the last year, Tableau made a formal pledge to close the data skills gap. This means we are going to help 10 million plus people get the data skills they need to be responsible citizens, to have the skills that they need to move further along in their careers. And we're planning to do this over the next 5 years. And there's a lot of information about this movement and some free resources to support this on our website. One of these initiatives is data literacy for all. So there's a lot of free resources on our website that you can access now, and they're going to help you understand a little bit more about data literacy in general, in addition to some skills with Tableau. I presume that most of you have a free Tableau license through our academic programs. If you do not, you should definitely get one because you can use this for your coursework, but then you can also use it if you have an internship or a part-time job. It's not restricted for just classroom use. You can certainly have a little side gig building out a little entrepreneurial analytics practice using your free license. So hit me up if you have any questions about that. And I think your instructor can probably also help you there. You get a free license while you are a full-time, while you're an enrolled student, but you can renew it every year that you're in school. You just need an EDU email address, and then they'll just renew you annually. And like I said before, you can use it for internships or any kind of work, including building out your portfolio on Tableau Public. And if you choose to get any certifications, we also give you a discount on that. Lots of free online training videos using our Superstore data on the Tableau website. So you don't have to worry about looking for dummy data or de-identifying any data. You can just go on there and download Superstore data if you don't have any data that you want to be working with. Okay. So Tableau Public is a free platform, and it's going to help you build out your profile. You can put some sample dashboards on there. And maybe we should talk a little bit to Lauren about her experience with Tableau Public.
Sure. Yeah, let me just pull this out. So yeah, Lauren, so what's your experience been like so far?
I absolutely love Tableau Public. I mean, it is so much fun with me to create dashboards and visualizations. Yeah, I've really enjoyed working with it so far.
And have you found any inspiration on there from other vizzes or other people?
I honestly haven't checked out any other visualizations besides what's been provided in the course. So that's something I would love to check out to see what I could be doing better in my visualizations.
I was just say, Margaret, I've been keeping them busy.
Well, I'll definitely show you some examples of things.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that is a fantastic idea. One thing I've noticed is, are people back maybe, 2 to 3 years ago, you could always download the data. It seems like sometimes they can privatize that now.
Yeah, you can lock down your data so that people can't download it from Tableau Public.
Which, I mean, that's kind of an interesting feature in that if some of the data is private, you could still publicly show the aspects of the data that you can. But like, for example, in the healthcare space, like HIPAA and all that kind of stuff. Because I think, Lauren, you and I might have actually looked at some healthcare analytics dashboards. And then I was like trying to be like, all right, here's a data set that you could work with. And it was like, I can't click on it.
Exactly. And so we put the power on the person publishing the dashboard to de-identify their data and to understand this is a free public forum.
Gotcha. Yeah. I will say this: you guys are it's such a brilliant form of marketing because we're in the apprenticeship program. We're doing Excel, Power BI, and Tableau, and I've kind of saved Tableau for the last as it's the juiciest in that you can have a portfolio and in terms of getting a job, saying, "Oh yeah, I can do this or I can do that," is so much different than, "Hey, here there's 6 different case studies I've worked through. I'd be happy to flip one of these up and show you my thought process." So
Yeah, and
it's a great conduit there.
it is. And as a bit of anecdotal evidence, in addition to, one of your students' testimonials, Jeremy, who runs the Charlotte Tableau users group, he's at Slalom, and Slalom is a global consulting company. They do a lot of Tableau. He says he will not hire anybody until he's seen their Tableau public profile. He wants to see what you've built.
Yeah, it's really interesting because that is a trend that we're in the analytics space. We're kind of missing out on. I have a friend who's a brilliant engineer, and he actually worked on an open source project for Adobe. Got to work with their engineering team for 6 months, and he fixed something with like an online tooltip. So that is such an amazing way to get a super high powered job is to work on something with somebody in a company, to where unfortunately in the data space, a lot of the data is privatized, so you can't.
Right. And that's the thing is like, how do you get experience and show off your work when you're not allowed to share anything?
Right. Yeah. Well, you guys are figuring it out.
Yeah. Well, you can also, there's a lot of stuff you can do personally too. And that's what's so great about Tableau Public. You have these high powered analytics visionaries who are posting vizzes about what states their kids have traveled to. And the, Tour de France winners over the last 20 years, or, is Tiger Woods the greatest of all time? And so the vizzes have a lot of personality behind them. So you don't have to necessarily keep it super professional, but you do have to demonstrate that you have a curiosity about data and there's a hypothesis that you wanted to explore through a visualization.
Gotcha. Sorry, I'm not laughing at what you're saying. I'm laughing at this comment right here. I haven't been. Back when I was in college, I was a little bit heavier, and I got this comment all the time. Like Jack Black. I've lost the weight. I don't look like Jack Black anymore.
That's
all right, sorry.
Awesome.
That's a side tangent. But I totally lost I lost the train of thought there. So we were talking about Tableau Public. Yeah, I'm actually really grateful for you guys for putting this out there, because I mean it's been huge for me, because on top of teaching, I also have my own consulting agency. I built out my portfolio on there to pitch clients. So kind of getting into that entrepreneurial space. Yeah, I mean it's a very powerful sales tool to be able to show and not just tell.
Yeah, and a lot of our consulting groups also have Tableau Public pages that we can easily reference. And so it's just a great forum, and also for getting ideas or wondering, gee, how did they do that? Or how else can I visualize this concept? Yeah. So the message to everybody, if you don't have a Tableau Public page, go get one. You can Google Tableau Public and sign in with just a generic email address and go on there and check it out. So Tableau Public is free to everybody. It's not just for students. There's all sorts of visionaries and analytics leaders and professionals who have profiles on there. You can post as much or as little as you want. So there are some visionaries on Tableau Public who I think have done an amazing job sharing free information. And I wanted to highlight some of those people so that you can follow them and get ideas for how you can up your analytics game. So Lauren, she's featured first. A couple of the things that I love about this, she's got a professional headshot. She's got her LinkedIn here. And then she's got some vizzes, and I love that they focus on a variety of different things, but some of it is COVID data. So obviously your background, you have some healthcare experience. So this speaks to the personal branding, kind of talk about what you know. Everyone has some sort of experience or personal interest that they can translate into a viz. You can keep it light, you can keep it fun. but there's a lot of different ways to kind of build out your profile here. So Andy Kriebel is a very well-known figure in the Tableau community, and he's got a ton of vizzes, including visual vocabulary and a ton of how-tos. And these how-tos are amazing. I know we all learn differently. Some people learn from video, some people learn from a print book. I find that he does a really good job on his vizzes, so I would definitely suggest that you follow him. And he's got all his links up here too, so you can follow him on all social media. Oh, so somebody's asked a question if you're not a student. You can download Tableau for free on our website. You can do a 14-day free trial.
Okay. So we're going to post this on the podcast platforms as well. So I'm going to read the question out. So Hunter, who's actually my intern, asked, for those who are not a student, what kind of options are there for you to continue learning about Tableau? So he's used Tableau Public, and also I don't know if you're going to get into this later on, he got stuck on a really complex kind of SQL-based problem, and then he leaned on the Tableau forums.
Yes, the community. They're amazing. So yeah, you can post on our website. You can even Google Tableau community, and you can ask a question, and they'll answer you. A bunch of experts can answer you from the community.
Right. And it's so interesting to me because I didn't quite get what was going on there. I think that because I mean, it doesn't make any logical sense. Why would someone who's an expert spend all day on the forum just answering questions? It's almost like they're so I've recently started doing jujitsu. It's almost like they're live sparring, like they're solving a novel problem. And it's interesting because it is very community based. Like they may have never been able to have that situation come up in their work day to day. So it's an opportunity for them to get some extra reps in.
Yeah, and the community posts are amazing because they leave them up there. So you can scroll back and see if someone else has answered the question or what's come up before. And it's really interesting because they become kind of like a living document. Yeah, so great question. Yes, there's a lot of resources on the website and on the community pages. So Andy Kriebel has visual vocabulary, which we find is really helpful to people who are just starting out with Tableau or want to refresh themselves on some of these different ways you can visualize data. So definitely follow Andy. He's a great one. And this is another one. I think this may be thank you, Hunter. Yeah, Andy is great. This may be the Flaherty twins. This is a chart catalog. So talks about some of the different ways you can visualize your data. So a barbell versus a bump chart versus a bullet graph. We see a lot of bar charts because people are familiar with those, but sometimes the bar chart is the best thing to use to visualize something, and sometimes there's other better options. So this is a great one, the chart catalog. And Joss Rayburn has a Viz cookbook. So another way to look at the charts to figure out how you want to visualize your things. And these are all on Tableau Public. I don't know if anyone follows the Flaherty twins. They are twins, and they're both Tableau Zen masters, public ambassadors, visionaries. And they have a really great website. They've presented at Tableau Conference multiple times. I was at Tableau Conference last week with them, and both of their sessions were like sold out. You couldn't get into their sessions. So fortunately, they did record them. And they focus a lot on dashboard design. And this is their blog. So they are both on Tableau Public, but they also have Twitter, LinkedIn, GitHub, and they focus a lot on how you can make better dashboard designs. So I highly encourage you to check out their blog. Jim is based in Nashville, Tennessee. He co-hosted a session last week at Tableau Conference, and it was on the basics of teaching Tableau. But he runs the Tableau newbies group. There is we call them TUGs, Tableau user groups. They meet virtually now since the pandemic started, and he runs the one for newbies. And he's a great resource for new Tableau users. But then he also has some great things on Tableau Public, use cases and how-tos. So he's a great person to follow on Tableau Public as well. And just so you know, on Tableau Public, you can you see here, you can favorite things, you can follow them, people can follow you. So it's very much like a social media environment around Viz. So as I mentioned, Jim co-leads the Tableau for Newbies user group. So you can hit that group up and join it and get to learn some of the newer people who are using Tableau and learn some tricks from Jim. So moving over to a couple of other social media platforms, Steve Wexler, he's pretty high level in the Tableau community. He's got some books. He tweets quite a bit, so he's one that you may want to follow. And he's also got a Tableau public page as well. Ava Murray is probably my favorite person to follow, particularly for this audience. She is so encouraging, and one of her big goals is to help people get data analytics careers, not just jobs, but careers. And she posts quite a bit about this, and I find her to be very inspirational. So you definitely want to follow her on Twitter. And so this is a post of hers recently. So she's helping people to learn more about data careers, analyst skills, and community building. And so she's definitely one that would be great to follow. And she just has some really great soundbite quotes to help people stay inspired, and to find time to really invest in your brand as far as being a data analyst or putting yourself out there in terms of why your analytics brand will help you stand out. And I find she does a really good job at that. Okay, so let's talk about some students who've really been able to take advantage of some of these resources that are available. So this person, I'm going to mess up her name. I think it's Bargavi. I've always been really impressed by her. So she's based in the Greensboro area, and she's presented at some online analytics forums. She's been involved in user groups. And there was a student-focused Viz contest last year held by the Raleigh-Durham Tableau user group, and she submitted her Viz. And here's what I'm talking about, where you can make it fun. Is it Federer or Nadal? Who's the greatest of all time? And she won a prize, and it was just really great to see somebody having fun with Tableau, but then also elevating her analytics brand. And so this is a great person to follow. Another student who won an award is Maria. She's at George Mason University, and she created a Tableau student guide, and I think she won one of our student Viz contests in 2020. So she's another great person to follow on LinkedIn for examples of how people have been able to brand themselves and elevate their career to the next level by showcasing their Tableau skills. The one that Maria won was a student Viz assignment. And so these are the criteria that students are judged on if anybody does want to enter it. And you can be any level of student to enter it. So I think they'll probably post it maybe later this year. The contest is done for this year. But this is another opportunity for you to get some attention for all the work you're doing and to potentially win some prizes. So in this last part, I'm going to focus on some resources and some things that you can take advantage of right now to help round out some of the stuff you already know about Tableau. So we have we call them tugs, Tableau users groups. They are all over the place. I live in Charlotte. There's ones in Raleigh, but the best part of the pandemic is that all of these user groups went virtual, and many of them stayed virtual. So you can hop into any users group. They always have networking and job posts. So I know the Raleigh one, they're constantly posting about openings. So you definitely want to join those and network with some folks. The newbie users group I mentioned earlier, that's another one to join. Tableau conference, it occurred last week. And the virtual component is completely free. So when you register for the virtual component, you can watch those recordings anytime you want to go back and learn some tips and tricks. We have some LinkedIn groups. And you can always, hit me up on LinkedIn too if you want to connect. Lots of recorded webinars and dashboard examples. On the dashboard examples on Tableau Public, we did a ton of recorded webinars during the pandemic. I don't know who even has time to watch all of them, but I'd be happy to share them with you if you're interested in taking advantage of these resources.
Oh, so I can speak. I can speak about I guess I didn't share this with you. I co-ran the Greensboro tug for 2
Oh
years.
yeah, I think you did mention that.
Yeah. So the fact that you're meeting on a regular basis with a group of people, I mean, you're building actual relationships. So you may not get a job directly there, but people know who you are. So you're kind of building, especially because I mean, I guess the whole lockdown kind of put a kibosh on the whole in-person meeting thing, which I think that it's starting to come back some, right?
Some of it is. I think we're going to always be hybrid, though. I think we're going to see the benefits of both.
Right, but from a job tactic standpoint, I think that being a part of the community on a local basis, because I mean, if you're joining something that's online and it's all across the world, it's not specific to where if you are meeting, and the events were really fun. Like we did a bunch of different types of things. The Greensboro Tele actually I think has been revived, and we met. It's called Bourbon Bowl. We met for food and drinks, just to kind of like reconnect. And yeah, I mean, there's a ton of talented people really close to you, especially if Greensboro is much smaller than Raleigh or Charlotte. I mean, I think we're 300,000. Both those cities are well over 1 million at that point, right?
Yeah, if you add in the suburbs, they're 1 million, and you get to know kind of the local flavor of the Tableau user. So in Charlotte, you've got Bank of America and Wells Fargo, and then in Raleigh Durham, you've got Duke, NC State, the hospitals, and so you get to know the flavor of the big employers and the community members who kind of are associated with them.
Right. Yeah, because I'm friends with Chris Scott over at in the Raleigh. I haven't been down to the Charlotte one yet, though.
Yeah, they don't meet as often as Raleigh. There's also a high country tug. I have to give a shout out to Ginny up at Appalachian State, who runs the high country tug up in the mountains. They do a great job.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's just a ton of value there. Also, too, it kind of, if you are active in the community, it's going to reinforce your actual habits as far as doing analytics work. Because if you're showing up to these meetings regularly and you're not spending any of your free time doing analytics work, it's gonna feel a little dissonant there. You might feel like a little bit of either you don't belong.
It's also inspiration too. You hear what some of these people are doing, and it inspires you to dig in and look at your Tableau Public and think of how you want to polish that or what else you want to put on there. So I feel like it's a bit of motivation as well as networking and staying connected.
Gotcha. Yeah. The tugs are awesome.
Yeah, they're great. And I just think the leaders have done such a great job of adapting them for the virtual world. And every time I log into one, I'm just so amazed at what they're doing to keep people engaged virtually. So we talked about the tugs. Definitely join the tugs from anywhere in the world. You can join them. Tableau Conference, the virtual one is free, so you could log in and view all those sessions. There's always job posts. So this the Raleigh Durham one, there's always going to be people posting new roles, and so definitely subscribe to those, and you'll get to see their feeds whenever jobs get posted. But please also try and attend them. I find there's a lot of value in attending them. A couple of things I mentioned earlier, now that we're owned by Salesforce, there's some really cool stuff that can help you build faster in Tableau. So we've got this thing called the Tableau Exchange, and it's like an app store where you're going to go and you can get Tableau dashboard starters. So when you go to the Tableau Exchange, you can search for anything. Some are paid, some are free, but it's going to allow you to get started building faster with free downloads of basic Tableau dashboards, connectors to some other technology so that you can get your data over faster and cleaner. So it's called the Tableau Exchange, and it's very much like an app store where you can download some free Tableau stuff, and then there's also some paid stuff too. So when you go to the Tableau Exchange, you can search by features or categories, and you can find things that are compatible with different versions of Tableau, and then you can search and see what's available to you. On the Tableau Exchange, we also have accelerators. These are, again, dashboards that you can download, and most of them are free. And they are tailored to your industry or to a certain type of application like HR or IT, operations or marketing. So these are a great place to start if you don't know what you want to build, or if you're trying to target your Tableau public profile towards a certain industry, maybe. You can start to kind of learn the language of the metrics they like to track. And you can do that by downloading some of these for free from the Tableau Exchange. And that's everything I have. I'm happy to hang out and answer any questions that that you guys have.
All right, so I've got two other apprentices. I don't know, Pete or Joanne, if you guys have any questions, just send it in the chat on the back end, and I'll pull you guys into the actual live stream. So, Lauren, you got any questions?
I don't have any specific questions, but I'm really excited about the Tableau Exchange. I'm definitely going to check that out and learn more about that.
Yeah, we're adding stuff every day.
So, okay, with that accelerator, does that include data?
It's just a dashboard, and what you do is you map your data on the back end.
Okay.
So you set up your data connectors.
Gotcha. Yeah. So Jared's tuning in saying the accelerators look like a great tool. All right. It's awesome to see that you guys are kind of getting into the educational space as well. So it's like, instead of just the platform, it's all right, well, here's some threads you can pull on to start kind of navigating where you might want to go.
Yeah, I think I think it's a long time coming, because we've always wanted to give people inspiration and ideas, but we've always felt like it's kind of on the end user to do whatever you want to do, like the art of the possible with Tableau. So it's still the art of the possible, but here's a couple of little nuggets to get you started.
Gotcha. I think Pete, you had a question, right?
Yes, tugs. Yes, great question. Yes, there are healthcare tugs, there are financial services tugs, there's a higher education tug. That's the vertical I work in. Is there a specific one you're looking for?
Marketing is a lot of my background, but I do a ton of work with nonprofits and a lot in the faith-based space as well. And
okay. I don't know if we have a nonprofit one yet. I can ask, though, because I work in the education space, and nonprofit is kind of our sister part. So if they don't have one, they're going to have one soon. In fact, Feeding America is one of our customers, and they presented at Tableau conference. And I know that was one of the big nonprofit customers. So yeah, I can look and probably let you know. Marketing, there probably is, but I'm guessing it's still going to be by vertical. So maybe retail, consumer goods, advertising. But there are definitely some. There is a directory of tugs too. If you Google like Tableau user groups, there's a whole long list of them, because there are hundreds. Now, not all of them meet as regularly as, the Raleigh one or the Charlotte one, but it'll show if there are any announcements, and you can contact the group leaders.
Wait, Pete, I didn't know you were interested in nonprofits.
Oh yeah, I've spent the last 25 years in that space.
Oh,
gotcha. Yeah, well, because I've done quite a bit of impact analysis for nonprofits. Yeah. So actually, Margaret, this is kind of a cool anecdote. So what you can do is you can take the data from the nonprofit, turn it into an interactive dashboard, and then bam, you've got a sales tool when the executive director goes out to reach out to funders for additional funding. Also, Pete, I literally just talked to an executive director 3 hours ago. So we may be working on a project in the nonprofit space in the very near future, depending on if we can get some final approval on it.
And Pete, there are in the Tableau Exchange, there are ones for nonprofit for donations. There's definitely for a couple. If you click on nonprofit and education as the industry, you'll see the donations one come up.
Yes, and also too, this is something I've been telling students for a while now. If you reach out to an executive director so my understanding of the nonprofit space is that there are a few very huge nonprofits that get a ton of funding, but at the bottom, there are a ton of very small nonprofits. So if you reach out to one of the executive directors and say, hey, I'm an analyst, or I'm an aspiring analyst, I would like to volunteer my skill set to help you work with your data. I think that is a relatively low bar, because it's not like these executive directors are being bombarded with people volunteering in that very well-defined niche. So that could be something we explore if you want to carve out another analytics project during the apprenticeship.
I would love that. And I have some friends who do a lot of work where they have targeted just that small and medium space. They both came out of the huge space, and they found that it's the little guys that really need the help. And they wanted to provide a bunch of tools that were really accessible. And so this would be potentially a really nice fit to come along those sorts of clients. So this is great.
That's cool. I didn't realize you had the interest.
Pete, where are you located?
So I'm in Minnesota. My folks are actually in the High Point area. And
okay.
So my heart is definitely, I grew up in Virginia, love the Carolinas, and spent 7 years out in Seattle, which was amazing, and a year down in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, which was pretty wild, let me tell you. So, yeah, but we've been in the Midwest for 14 years, and we love it here. The lakes and the outdoors experiences, and you get 6 months of winter, which, where else can you get that?
Awesome. All right, so let's hop into some of the chat questions. So Hunter had another question. I'm just gonna have it just be me and you, Margaret, on here. So Hunter asked also, what kind of resources are there for data sets? Is reaching out to he is taking my advice. Is reaching out to a local company that has data that interests you usually a viable option? Is there a way to work around proprietary data?
Yeah, so Tableau has something called the Superstore. The Superstore data is on our website, and you can download it and that's how they have all the free Tableau videos. They're often referring to the Superstore data. So it may be something that you can kind of massage or work with initially. So the Superstore is this fictionalized company that has inventory of office supplies and staples and paper and fictional sales. And so they have you walk through some exercises to kind of create some very basic Tableau dashboards using this data from a fictional company. So the Superstore is probably a good place to start. I think there are websites that have kind of some dummy data, and I can't think what they're called.
Like Workout Wednesday or something Tuesday. There's like, I don't know if there's a Tableau challenge for every day of the week, but are you familiar?
There's
Makeover Monday. That's what I'm thinking of. Because they do provide you with the data, because you can't make over the dashboard if you don't actually have it, right?
Yeah, that might be a good place to go too. I don't know how much data you're looking for, Hunter. Could you work with small sets, or do you need like really big sets?
So I can kind of answer that. So this is actually a really interesting story. So I signed the largest client I've ever have, and I just didn't have bandwidth. And he was interning for me, and I was like, Hunter, you can take this on. If it doesn't work out, I mean, it's not a huge loss. He literally built out the entire Tableau infrastructure for $850 million business over the last 6 months. And what's wild about that is I had him as a student in June. In January, he took a 4-month course with me, university course, then interned for me over the summer, and then worked on that project. So, I mean, that's what, 6-7 months of actually working with Tableau. And then he has the skill set to, like, he was working directly with one of the executives on taking kind of the business need and building it out into some pretty robust infrastructure.
Wow, that's great.
So
but now you can't have their data, Hunter. They won't give it
that. Yeah, that's essentially why. Yeah, that's exactly it. So he's like, I have all of this. I have all of these use cases. I can't pull their data because that's unethical, and we signed an NDA. It's also unethical and illegal liability as well.
You won't get any more jobs after that.
Right. It's like, it was a good career. It was a short one. He came out hitting hard.
Yeah. Well, the Superstore data, I mean, what is interesting about the Superstore data is that you have a lot of people on Tableau Public who are working with it. If you Google Superstore or search Superstore on Tableau Public, you'll see a ton of people working with that data. So in that sense, it's kind of a common denominator. So I wouldn't rule it out. I just don't know exactly what you're hoping to build, but that might be a good place to start.
Yeah, I think that one thing that I've learned through teaching in the apprenticeship is that, so I'm working with people who are currently employed in another space. You can ask your manager, hey, are there any data sets that, you haven't gotten around to analyzing? I really want to develop the skill set. And it does multiple things. Like, number one, you might actually get a really cool data set. And number two, it shows initiative. So you're
Right.
like, yeah, I want to go. It shows that you're motivated, and that actually kind of changes the dynamic a little bit with you and your manager.
Yeah,
Right, so
and
Lauren,
public organizations too. So Tableau is used for a ton of COVID dashboards. Technically, that's public information. So any kind of public agency or nonprofit, there's a lot that you can find out there. I just wouldn't know how to start digging, but there is a lot of public information that you could access. It's just how much time do you want to spend and figure out if it's what you want to work with.
Gotcha. All right. So Lauren, you said you had a question?
Yeah, so this is a little bit off subject. It's more technical in Tableau. Margaret, I want your personal opinion on this. When I figured out that I could add bar graphs or visuals into the tooltip when you're hovering over in the dashboard, I got so excited. I wanted to put it in every single one that I did. But I'm starting to learn that maybe that's not effective and it's a lot going on. Do you have any preference or insight into when that would be appropriate and beneficial?
So we have a lot of visual best practices, and we have, there's actually a workbook optimizer that we just rolled out with the latest version of Tableau. So there's always multiple concerns. When I think about the workbook optimizer, I'm thinking about how much energy or space does your workbook suck for the person who's trying to use it? So is it going to spin? Is it going to slow things down? So that's always like number one concern, because if it's spinning, it's not helpful to anybody while it's spinning. So concern one is, how much is it loaded up with stuff? Is it going to, not load properly? That's always concern number one. Concern number two is your audience. Do you think they can handle this? Do you think they'll understand what your intent was and benefit from that? Because there's a huge range of end users. And it's great if your end user can responsibly use that and it fits the purpose you intended it for. But if you feel like it might just be noise, there might be a better way to do that. Whether it's drilling down into another dashboard or on the tooltip saying, click here to go to the underlying, and then it sends them to another tab. So I honestly would consider your audience. Like, first, is it going to cause it to spin? It has to be able to load. So take a look at the workbook optimizer, but then also I would probably work with your audience. The best analysts are people who work shoulder to shoulder with their audience and refine and ask questions and have a direct communication with them, so that they're constantly revisiting and thinking about if these features actually benefit your audience. Does that help?
That makes a lot of sense. Yes, that helps.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that is a really, really smart idea. It's almost like a lean startup approach to building out your analytics. Because I see this fairly frequently where it's almost like they take the mad scientist approach of like, I'm going to cook up this amazing concoction in my lab back behind where no one can see me. And then they spend 80 hours on this thing, and this thing it's useless, or it's not dialed in. So I think taking that iterative approach of let the manager or the executive team or the owner of the business lead the conversation. So like, it's what do you care about? Let's start there, and then we can kind of build on top of it. Because yeah, it is really creative being an analyst. So you can kind of see like, all right, well, what are the questions they may not be asking, or what are some of the implications of this, and then you can start building out around there. So yeah, Margaret, I absolutely agree. I think that's a great approach.
Yeah, I worked with a customer once who said we're only making one dashboard, and we'll make more eventually, but we're all going to figure out how to make this one work for everyone to be hyper focused on this one dashboard. And we're not going to create all these other extra dashboards. We're going to focus on one right now and maximize what we can get out of that. And so he met with his end users like weekly to get feedback and find out what questions they were asking and to kind of see where they were searching, like where were they clicking, what were they looking for. I mean, that's a little extreme, but if you're doing all the building, you definitely want to make sure you're connected with the audience so that they're making the most out of what you've built.
Gotcha. Margaret, looks like you've got a fan.
Oh.
So Marcia is saying, I was so excited to see this was live, but apparently he got a call and missed almost everything. So Marcia, and then she said, thanks, Margaret. I'll watch later. Don't leave yet. You feel free to ask a question. I mean, we got Margaret.
Yeah, we have time.
Yeah, we got a little bit of time. So if you have any question, Margaret, there was one question that was pretty much a low-hanging fruit that I wanted. You were in the middle of saying something, and I didn't want to interrupt you. But
then how much after the 14-day trial? That's a good question. I think the creator license is, I think it's $840 a year. So they charge you up front for the full year. So if you're a student, I would try and use your education free license. If you have an EDU email address, you just have to go to the website and verify. And the 14-day trial, I don't know if you can. I've honestly seen people actually download the 14-day trial over and over and over. So
hey, you work for Tableau. You're supposed to be getting them more money.
I know.
Well, actually, so what is he referring to in the 14-day? Is he talking? I just got a little bit confused just now. Mm-hmm. Is like the accelerator and all those tools, are those like a 14 free day trial? No, those are all free, right?
Those are all free. You're going to need a Tableau desktop license to probably open them. Yeah, to view them.
Okay. So you can't do it in Tableau Public?
I don't think so. I think you're going to need a desktop license.
Okay.
So you may need to play around with your student license and the accelerator.
Yeah, because my immediate response when I saw that was, if you're an individual just learner, I don't think you need the full paid version of Tableau. You could just go with Tableau Public. Probably.
I mean, it just depends on what you want to do. And so I would definitely focus on the student license because that is the full Tableau for students. So definitely, if you just Google Tableau free license for students, it'll take you to the web page where you fill out your information with your EDU email address. And once they verify you, you have it for a year.
Gotcha. Well, looking at Glenn's thumbnail, he's got a little bit of gray in his beard. So he may not be a student unless he's an adult student.
All you need is an EDU email address. That's all you need. Just go to the community college, get one.
Interesting.
If you have an EDU email address, they'll verify you. So,
okay.
I mean, I used my student ID for years and years and years after I graduated. So.
Really? They deleted it at Greensboro College after like 2 years. Yeah,
I was still getting into movies at a student price for a long time.
we got an opportunist on the line here. That follow-up question to that: what is the difference between Tableau Public and Tableau, like the actual paid version of it?
So the Tableau paid version, I think, is going to also give you Tableau Prep. Tableau Prep allows you to clean up and shape your data. When you buy a paid Tableau license, okay, Hunter had a question about that. Let me tell you about all the stuff that comes. So if you buy a Tableau creator license, you automatically get Tableau Desktop, which you can download for free. You also get Tableau Prep, that's included. And then you also get a seat in Tableau Online or Tableau Server. So you could download the Tableau Server software and spin up your own server. That's all included free with your creator license for the $840 a year. You can also have a seat on Tableau Online. So all of that is included with the creator license. Where you have to pay extra is when you want people to buy viewer licenses to actually view and download and filter all of your data. So So you get a hosting environment that's secure. So Tableau Public is free and wide open. If you need a secure place to share your dashboards, then Tableau Server or Tableau, the cloud-based deployment options, would be the place that you wanted to share that. And that's included for free with your creator license. Hunter had a question about Tableau Prep. That is included free with your creator license. Tableau Prep is going to allow you to automatically clean and store your flows. So let's say you're working with survey data and everyone enters their city slightly different, or their state slightly different. Capital N for North Carolina, lowercase n for North Carolina, NC for North Carolina, and period C period for North Carolina. You've got all this survey data and it's a mess and you have to clean it up before you can analyze it in Tableau. You can use Tableau Prep to automate that cleaning process, and you save that. It's a prep flow. So you're saving your prep flow so that anytime somebody types in N period, C period, or North Carolina, it all understands it to be the same thing. So you're not having to re-clean every time you get more data. So Tableau Prep is going to help you automate that process.
Yeah. So the ETL, extract, transform, load.
Yeah. Extract, transform, load. Yes.
So yeah. So that is hugely powerful, because then you're starting to you're getting into automation. So instead of you just being, hey, I show up and I do my task. Now you're starting to build systems, and you're getting out of, hey, I'm just going to do this ad hoc analysis, to let's get into some analytics infrastructure. So that stuff's really, really powerful. And
they say analysts are spending 70 to 80% of their time cleaning data. I mean, that's painful.
Well, what's funny is I work with typically smaller companies, and I don't have nearly as much of a headache with data quality issues. I think this is kind of a tangent, but when you're working with a multi-billion-dollar company, they have all these legacy issues, legacy systems issues, where the data was collected 300 or 200 or 800 years ago, and then a new data system was built, and then how do they communicate? To where a lot of the business I'm working with, they're hooked into Google Analytics, and Google's collecting that data pretty pristine. I don't think I've had any data quality issues with Google Analytics.
Yeah, I think smaller companies are often more agile and able to, pivot quickly. So I work with very large universities, and we see the same thing with legacy systems and siloed data, because they just are so big. So yeah, I would agree. But if you do need to do data prep, I would recommend Tableau Prep. Pete had a question about programming. So Pete, two that we see a lot of are Python and R, especially if you want to do predictive analytics. And there are ways that you can kind of capture those scripts and work with Tableau to do predictive analytics. Those are the ones we're seeing the most of, I would say.
Wow.
Yeah.
That sounds good. Aside from programming, are there other technical tools that would be good to sharpen up, or at least be aware of? I'm even thinking on the data storage side. And obviously, in working in the nonprofit space, there are a lot of CRM products out there. And of course, Salesforce, little plug for you guys, has a great nonprofit option as well that's been very reasonably priced, free for a period of time. I'm not sure if it still is. It's been a few years since I played with it, but
yeah, obviously Salesforce is going to be the first one, because we're owned by them. So that's where they've made the biggest investment in the connectors and the data connectivity. That's been a big thing, is Salesforce. We do a lot with AWS as well. A lot of people who are running their Tableau servers are deploying in AWS or in the cloud on virtual machines. And then our Tableau cloud offering is hosted by AWS. So that in the cloud is AWS. Snowflake might be one to take a look at too. There's a lot of different tools that are helping people optimize their data. With big data, we're seeing massive data sets, and products like Snowflake help people get the most out of it by compressing the data so that it's easier for you to search it, index it, use it, and ultimately it just helps you become more efficient with your data.
Thanks. That's helpful.
I don't know if John has any other ones he would suggest.
Nothing that's coming off the top of my head right now. So let's take one more question, and then let's. I almost forgot to actually like pull up Lauren's portfolio so we could like actually take a look at it and monkey around with it. So so this question is coming from Raj, who is he's a PhD student at UNCG, and he says, I feel like I'm hitting a plateau in learning Tableau. Could you please help me understand how I can improve my skills? He said getting a job is not an option since he's a full-time international student.
Wow, I wish I had that problem. I wish I knew so much Tableau that I was at a plateau. I'm trying to think. I mean, that's a really good one. I don't know, Raj, what is your goal? Are you hoping to teach eventually?
I think he's a bit of a tinkerer. Like he just so like he's in Greensboro, so we'll like grab drinks occasionally, and he's very technical. So I think oh man, I'm blanking on the name of it. It's like a geospatial tool, ArcGIS. I think he's he's like really good at that, and then also gets into like actual doing geographic analysis in Tableau. So my thought is, Raj, you just need to find a new project. Just find a new challenge.
Mapping layers? Do you do much with the layer tools and the mapping layer tools? Because I feel like we've released a few of those in recent versions. That might be something to play around with.
Okay. Well, so my understanding of mapping layers is you just hit the drop down and you click it and it adds like population or average age of the population or something like that. I think he's wanting to get really into the weeds with coding, and so maybe kind of circling back to what Pete asked about
the Python and R,
Python and Tableau. So yeah, I think he's in the he's in the educational space, so I think he's doing probably R is actually you're in the education space. Here we go. So he's saying I have used GIS and Tableau. But Tableau is nascent in GIS. He's using big academic words. I'm not sure what that means. So yeah, it sounds like Raj maybe get into like a coding language.
And there were some sessions at Tableau conference last week on Python and R. I feel like there's been a lot of content in that space lately.
Awesome. All right. Well, Raj, thanks for the question. Lauren, I'm going to pull you back in. I hope you're ready to be in the hot seat.
I'm nervously excited.
So here we go. So you said the ones you're really proud. Well, first of all, before we even get into any one of these projects, what immediately strikes me is you've got 5 projects under your belt.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what the recruiter found and then reached out to you, which is huge. That's awesome. So which one do you want to talk about?
We can do the Udemy reviews.
Okay. So let me see. Let me blow this up. Awesome. Yeah, I mean, it looks very polished. So you want to walk us through it a little bit? So what's going on here?
Sure. I should have reviewed this before today. But basically, I got the data from you. This is rating information on Udemy courses that you provided. So I kind of wanted to look at not only the average rating, but the total number of ratings, because I thought that gave a bigger picture of what was going on. Because if you had one person provided a rating and they gave it a 1 star, I don't think that's a real complete picture of what's going on. And so that's why I included the total number of reviews. And then it also gives you insight into which courses are most popular. And then at the bottom, we kind of have it in a timeline. So you can see which courses are peaking at certain months. And you can kind of go back and think what was happening and what you can do to revisit that interest and excitement on the courses. On the right.
Where's the timeline?
Go ahead. The timeline's at the bottom. Oh, you're looking at the wrong one. Sorry.
I was like, wait, I am not.
I'm looking at it on my computer. It's called the Udemy Record. Go back to my dashboard.
Okay. I was about to say, I was like,
The
this
one
one.
titled Udemy Reviews. Sorry.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah. So they were posting it. There we
Okay,
go.
just
I was
right
like,
now.
wait a second. Am I? What's going on with me?
Yes. So on the left we have total number of reviews, and then on the right
Okay.
side of that is the average.
Awesome. Oh, I like how these, so we can see that, this one is not nearly getting as many people signing up for it, but those who do sign up for it love it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, now I see a timeline.
Yeah.
So any
And the
thoughts?
bullets on the right are applied to all of the visualizations too.
Cool. So yeah, let's look at that Spanish course. Gotcha. Cool. It's interactive. I like that. Margaret, you got any thoughts?
I think this is great. And it has me asking questions, which is always good. So what was going on in July of 2020 that we see all those ratings? Was that when courses ended?
So, man, yeah, this was, we were talking off air about this, about how I started the YouTube channel, which led to the Udemy courses, which then led to LinkedIn and then teaching. I partnered with a company called Super Data Science, and they have an email list of around 200,000 to 300,000 people. So they just blasted me out to their email list. And that's why there's so many people taking it. So actually, Lauren, this is a kind of a nuanced point we talked about. I mean, I'll be a little bit lenient on if I'm putting you in the hot seat if you don't remember this. What's going on in terms of the reviews? So what is the review a proxy metric for?
I believe that if it's above, I think it was a 4.3, that you earn more money from the course. Or am I on the?
Okay, yeah. Well, that's a related point.
Okay.
But you're actually absolutely right. So, Margaret, to give context to this case study, if I get above a 4.4 star average star rating on Udemy, I get access to an enterprise deal where a company can buy in bulk my courses.
Oh, that's great.
So it's kind of, and the thing is, like, this course is, I'm no longer really focusing on Udemy, but it's cool that this is real data the students get to work with and analyze and mess around with, and there's actually objectives so we can figure out, all right, which ones are eligible and which ones are not. But Lauren, what I was getting at with this is that within the data set, the way that I download my review data from Udemy, it does not give me a metric on the granularity of how many people per month took each course.
Oh, right.
Right. So we've got to use reviews as a proxy metric for about how many people do you think took that course?
Right, because each person that takes the course is prompted to give the review, but it's not necessarily a requirement. Right. Correct?
Right. Which that was just a lesson on, like, you may not, especially if you're working with a smaller company or a newer company, you may not have all the data. But if there are related data points, you can make an assumption. So maybe we could say that, all right, let's say that 10% of people leave a review. So that's, all right, well, in that month we had close to 9,000 people estimated to take that course.
Right.
So yeah, I think this is so cool. And what's wild about it is that the recruiter came and liked it, and we hadn't even really sat down to like review this.
No.
Like you just like went out and did this on your own. Like Margaret, she came in feisty.
This is a great story though. And what a savvy recruiter for looking on Tableau Public, because that's one of the best places where they can figure out if you have the skills.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I was very excited when I got the call.
Yeah, this is great. And you've got it well labeled, which is great because people can filter and they understand the range of the average rating with the heat map and the total reviews. And you can see the maximum and, the minimum on the reviews. And then the timeline is great too.
The only thing I reviewed this course, not this course, I reviewed this dashboard earlier today, and I realized that when I filtered it by gender. The females group gave a higher, or maybe it was the men. On the timeline, I didn't set the parameter on high enough and low enough so that you can see some of the data points.
Oh, the range, yeah.
So I would go back and fix that.
I think you can set it to have a dynamic range.
Oh, okay.
But even that's a trade-off, though, because if the axis is constantly shifting and you have two different line charts, it's apples and oranges.
Right.
So it's like, do you want the absolute value or do you want the relative value? So it's kind of a toss-up there. Because, I mean, if it's down below a 4, you could say, all right, I know this is bad. I don't need to know how bad it was, potentially. Yeah.
And it's an outlier. So is it that significant?
Right. Okay.
Right. Yeah. To where, like, I actually wouldn't even say that that's broken. I think that keeping it, like Lauren, do you kind of see what I'm saying? Like, we're looking at females now, but now we're looking at males. Did it switch? If I can click the button. See, so now these are the same ones, so we can see. It might actually be interesting to do like a dual axis line chart of male and females.
Okay.
Oh yeah, you could layer them.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
So this is, Margaret, this is what we do all the time. We just kind of like play around and then come up with suggestions. Also, from a formatting standpoint, make this entire view like we got all this white space right here. I mean, that's a bit of a nitpick. But just kind of make it like really crisp and clean, because I almost want it to look like a data app or something,
right?
So people are much more likely to go around and click on it.
Yeah, you can also play with the fonts a little bit too to take up some more of the space so that you can truly see the title of the course and play with the margins and things like that, and headers and footers and things like that.
Okay.
Yeah, or so now that we're on like the conversation topic of real estate, you could potentially take these filters and then put them along here, because there's 3 digits here and we've got almost the entire space.
Right.
Yeah. So, but I mean, that's like kind of a preference thing, and then just put these up, they could either be floating or, like embedded within that tile.
And back on the topic of audience, figure out, what machines they're going to be viewing this on. And, in cases where sometimes people are printing, that's going to be really an important consideration if you work with people who are more comfortable with something print in front of them. Because of how you lay everything out, you'll want to make sure that, not that printing is the best thing in the world, but some people in some industries feel a lot safer with print. So talking to your audience about how they intend to view this.
Right. That's a good point.
That's so. I've never had a client ask me to like print a document, because you hear people complain all the time about like, hey, can I export this to Excel? Printing is taking that whole meme on a whole nother level.
Yeah, it is.
Like, I want to print this. It's like, look, you can interact with this in real time.
I know. Why would you print it?
Yeah.
Sometimes when they're a CEO, you just don't ask questions.
Yep.
You just let them.
Yeah. Especially too, because the apprentices are new to a space. You don't want to come in day one and be like, I'm going to be running things around here. I know how to do this. Because
you just kind of sidle up to the assistant, to the person who wants to print, and you find out how they set up their computer, what their comfort level is with technology, and eventually you'll be, getting them to log in and not need to print. But baby steps.
Awesome. Lauren, I actually like this one too. I really like the.
This one's beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, the. Margaret, what do you even call that?
I modeled this off of the Tableau creator. I think it was a video on Tableau Public. And I just kind of put my own spin on it.
Yeah.
These sliders are really nice. Everyone loves the sliders up here. Because it's like an if then. So what happens if, what happened between this range of time, and what happens if our profits go to this range or that range? People love to brainstorm around these.
Yeah.
Very cool. I don't
And
know
where
why
did this data come from?
It was part of the project.
Okay,
Data was provided.
got it.
So okay, so I think, is this the ERP data?
I'm not sure.
Yes. So it's like looking at
It looks a lot
so
like the superstore. That's why I was asking, because I see furniture, office supplies, technology. Those are some of the categories in the superstore data.
Yeah, I think it might have been actually.
yeah, okay, cool, awesome. You're going out because so Margaret, in the apprenticeship program, I give them 6 different data sources so they get access to sales data, marketing data, financial data, psychographic data, so they can kind of get a feedback on, hey, I really like this type of analysis, and then start to build their personal brand around that.
That's great.
Yeah, this is cool though.
I did. This is the one where I added the bar chart when you're hovering over the states. If it will see, it's not loading. But I thought
that actually works though. I think
it
that's
does
cool.
work.
Yeah.
I think it works if you have a smaller subset. I mean, if you had like 38 cities, it would be a little much. But if it's easy to determine.
So there's way more than 15 cities in California. So I guess it just shows the
biggest
that have the data, like if they have a store in that city.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah, I actually really like that.
Yeah,
Lauren, you're showing
like
me
it
something
too.
new. I haven't seen this before.
It's the coolest feature ever.
Yeah, it's really valuable. Gotcha. Cool.
That may have been the thing that won over the recruiter. Bar charts in the tooltip.
Wow, very meta. Anything else you want to showcase?
I think those are the 2 that I was most proud of. The COVID data sparked some controversy, so we're not go there.
Yeah.
The February overview product sales was similar to the executive overview. I kind of did the same idea with just different data, and I used a little bit different of a visualization, but I also had that slider tool. And I think I did the bar chart in the tooltip as well on this one. And this
Lauren,
one, go ahead.
What I'm noticing, you're getting views on these.
It's because I post them on my LinkedIn.
Which, by the way, you're not being annoying. Margaret, she told me the other day, she's like, sorry for being so annoying on LinkedIn. It's like, no.
When I tell people you can reach out to me on LinkedIn, I mean, that's what I expect you to do. I'm happy to help, and that's kind of what you have to do. It's your personal brand.
Oh, cool. Dan Sanchez is in the chat. So Dan actually has got an analytics job in Raleigh, but he did a live stream with us maybe a month or 2 ago where he actually built out a whole. Do you know what Canva is? It's not Canvas. Not for you're thinking not the educational like platform. Canva is actually, Lauren. You love Canva, right?
Yeah, it's basically like a tool where you can create digital graphics and content.
So what he did was he built out a background that had everything like modeled out, and it looked like almost like a web page for his dashboard, and it was just phenomenal. And he said that actually he interviewed like a week or 2 later, showed them that dashboard, and was like, yeah, they were like, this is amazing. So yeah, Tableau Public is it's such a good tool to have in your arsenal for when you're applying for jobs.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's just so many really amazing things on there. I mean, I'm just overwhelmed at how much people will give out to the community in terms of free Tableau tips with some of the stuff I showed.
Gotcha. All right. Well, we have been wandering around the internet and talking about random things. No, we've been talking about Tableau things. We've been focused. We've been meandering in a focused way. But Margaret, this has been fantastic. I've really enjoyed this conversation.
Yeah, no problem. Happy to help. Let me know if you all have any questions. And you can connect with me on LinkedIn. I usually do post a lot of Tableau updates on there, so feel free to follow me or connect with me. And if there's anything else I can help with, reach out. You know where to find me.
Awesome. Well, thank you. And everybody in the chat and all the apprentices, thank you so much for being on. And I will talk to you guys later. Bye.
Thanks. Congrats, Lauren.
Thank you so much. Thanks, John David.